Hi friends, welcome back. My name is Carrie, and if you don't know, I am genderqueer, non-binary, trans, adult. And so what I talk about here are things that like inform my life or affect my life or society, or like what it's like, that kind of gender fun stuff in the world. So today I want to talk about actually two things that for me overlap or are overlapping quite a bit, and also just I really want to get a video out this week but have limited time to like record a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna give a quick warning that I will be talking about like death and families a little bit in this video, so if that's a like new or sensitive subject for you, just be aware, like not in a bad way, like it will come up. So I'm 1 month, as of yesterday, I'm 1 month on a low dose of tea, so I want to talk about that a little bit. But I want to talk about siblings, like for me specifically, my older brother, and how that like informs things. It was like National Sibling Day a couple days ago. My siblings have been great. My like background with my siblings is kind of like convoluted to explain, but basically I grew up with an older half brother and a younger sister. And like my brother had a different dad who died when he was very young. And then like he was like 3.5 maybe, and he was maybe like 5, maybe not even quite 5 when my mom and dad got married. And like so the three of us grew up together, and like we knew, like my mom always talked about his dad with him and stuff. So like I knew he was my half brother, but I didn't like think of it in those terms until I was in college. And then I have like a stepsister, I have a sister-in-law because my brother had been married at one point, and like she's remarried, and so like I have another brother-in-law from that. And I have great siblings, they've been wonderful. Like my brother and I fought the way siblings do, but like everyone's great. And I hear that like a really common narrative, like trans people who have siblings, that usually that is like, they're usually the first people that are like on board with pronouns and names and just accepting them. I have some thoughts on that. Like, I think when you grow up with siblings, for the most part, they're the people like, they can fight with you and they can pick on you, but no one else can. Like, they're very like supportive and defensive of you naturally. Like, that's just a sibling thing for the most part. Also, they don't have, like, they know you really well, but they don't have these expectations on you like your parents might. Parents have like this vision for your future and this path, and so if you come out to them, something about that rocks their world. And I can talk at length, but I won't, about like my issues with that, like from a gender kind of perspective and like why we have different expectations for girls and boys, but that's not the point of this video. Your siblings don't have those expectations. They just know you, and like they're gonna defend you usually, and they're usually pretty cool people. It just like they get you on a different level. And so I think that's part of like why they're so good at being a good support for gender non-conforming, non-binary people, whatever, however you identify that's not cisgender. Those are kind of my thoughts. And yes, I know there are a few bad apples like in any group, but like generally speaking, I think that's pretty accurate. And so the reason this is relevant to my like testosterone update is because my older brother died when he was 23, and so like if you've read any like academic gender development stuff, so not just like someone's opinion on the internet, but like stuff with some research behind it, most commonly the way we develop our gender identity, if you're an oldest child or an only child, it's modeled after your parent or parents. So whether that's 2 moms, 2 dads, a mom and a dad, 2 dads and 1 mom, like whatever your situation is, you get your like information about gender from them first, and also from like outside society, but like that's your main model, like the people you grew up with. However, if you are a sibling who, like if you're a younger sibling of anyone, your gender is modeled first and foremost off of that oldest sibling. So like say you're like a larger family of 6 kids, first kid is gonna model their gender after parents, but kids number 2 through 6, all the younger kids are gonna get their like model of gender first and foremost from that oldest sibling. So like for me and my sister, primary model of gender would have been our brother. And I can really see how that's true for me, and I can like pinpoint times now, like I joke about being like kind of a pretty boy sometimes, but like my brother kind of could be. Like I can remember like when he was a teenager, like being around and he'd be like trying to like do his hair just right, or like working out like through his adolescence to like bulk up, and then like I'll find myself doing very similar things and be like, oh, like I really did, I don't know if I internalized it or just learned it or whatever, but like I see it. When I was really seriously like contemplating tea and like I pretty much decided I was going to start it, I also realized that for me, like physically, my best model of how I could look like long term if I stay on tea or go on a higher dose or whatever, is really my brother, because my brother and I, even though we just have the one parent in common, when we were kids looked like, if you look at a picture of us, like him at the age of 8 and myself at the age of 8, other than him having like a dimple that I don't have, looks like the same kid, like super similar in common. I'll try to put a picture I have of him up. He's probably like 2021, the beach, because like I can't wait to go to the beach. And I will say he like broke his nose several times, and so like I wouldn't look exactly like him anyways because of that. But I feel like him and like my dad combined are kind of a pretty good gauge of what I could expect to look like, and then to a lesser extent some of my male cousins. Right? So I had found, like, I was kind of thinking about him, and if you've lost someone like really close to you, like my parents also, like you kind of know, you like really do think about those people on a pretty much almost daily basis, just in passing over, like, I don't know, really simple things. When I really started thinking about T, I found that I was thinking about like my brother in a different way, because it was like, oh, like it was back to kind of looking up to him, but more like how I would look up to him like as a kid and like teenagers, and like how I would grow up, right, like from a physical standpoint, which is kind of funny and weird. I looked a lot like him, and so I'm curious to see like if that continues or not. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to think about. So this is getting long because, I don't know, I'm just rambly a little bit today. A lot today, actually, honestly. Like, I already tried to film this like 4 other times. T updates, because you're probably interested in that if you are a person thinking about it. I'll also try to remember to put up a like 1 month comparison photo here. I see pretty much no changes. I will say, I think, so one of the changes that I didn't care about but now I kind of want is my voice to drop. But I was talking to someone, like there are like cis men whose pitch is probably not too far off, like it's just a little bit deeper than mine, but there's like a timbre difference, and I don't know if it's just because like I have a music background, like there's still something different from T. So even if it doesn't, like my voice doesn't drop super low, I think I'm starting to get that. And like even where I'm talking, I have to talk a little bit up or a little bit below where my voice wants to be right now. So I am getting like a teensy bit of voice changes. My nurse practitioner said that's usually one of the first things she sees in her patients, which surprised me because a lot of people I see or hear talk about it, that's not necessarily an early change for them, or maybe it's just less noticeable. I can hear it and like feel it, but it's not, I don't think it's like noticeable to other people yet. So like that's a change I've seen. I don't really see much change in like the shape of my face. My shoulders have finally started, I don't know if you can tell in this shirt, started to like get a bit broader, but I've been doing like push-ups pretty much daily all year long. I think that just the T is maybe that little extra push I needed, but like my back muscles, you still can't, I don't have those like nice defined muscles like cis men have on their backs a lot of times that I really want. And really like that, like those types of physical body changes are changes I really want, but they're the I want to say hardest. They're the like most unpredictable, very different for everyone kind of changes, and they take the longest usually, so I'm not holding my breath. And even like, I don't know if you can see with the lighting, like you can see like definition on my bicep, but I still like it's almost making like this tricep area worse. There's that. My nurse practitioner warned me that like weight gain is real on testosterone, but she made the point of saying that it's because you get hungrier and people eat more but aren't necessarily like eating healthy or like exercising. So I've tried to be very conscious about eating healthier like the majority of the time and like doing something physical every day. So I think like any changes I've seen on my face might just be like a weight shift. They're not like the shape of my face. You know what I mean? Like that, like I want that nice jawline that like I just don't, if I go like this, it looks like I have one, but I don't really have it yet. I don't really have any like body hair changes. I don't have any like, I can't tell if my facial hair is getting like I don't have it, but like that peach fuzz, if it's getting a little like rougher or not. I might have a couple whiskers. I don't want facial hair, so I'm okay with that, but it's weird because I keep looking for it because I know it's an early sign, and also because like I will shave like even when I just start to get peach fuzz, like I don't like it. Like bottom growth has been really, like if I've had any, it's been super minimal. And then the fun stuff, so like stuff that I like in person I've had friends talk about, which I think is really interesting, that have to do with like more mental and emotional changes, and then people talk about too online. But I want to talk about this because I kind of paid a lot of attention, or tried to pay attention to it, because when I hear people talk about it, people in testosterone-based systems, so whether it's like cis men versus like trans men, right, like transmasculine people, would talk about things like getting more like mental focus, which I actually like really like, that my brain kind of can process a ton of information at once, so I don't want to lose that. They talk about like not being emotional, not being like able to cry, those types of things, right? So like while like trans feminine people, trans women, maybe cis women even, might be more emotional, might be more prone to cry. Oh, there's something else I wanted to say, but I forget. But like those types of changes, I like try to pay attention to, because any and every time people talk about this, all I can think is, other than like my brain can multitask pretty swiftly, I have always thought like people with the testosterone-based system is who I sound like already. I don't get like mood swings. I don't get like super angry about things, but I can sometimes be like frustrated with things. I'm not a crier. I've never really been much, or maybe when I was tiny kid, I don't know. Like I don't know, but I'm not really like, I might tear up if like, it's usually a combination, like if it's an emotional moment and I'm super tired and like sleep deprived, and especially if I've been like traveling and flying, I might tear up, but I still am not like a crier and have never been. So like there are things like that I can't tell you if it's changed, because that's how I am. Libido, just speaking with friends that are cis women, like I'm pretty sure I had a pretty high libido to begin with. And when I switched from my estrogen to progesterone birth control, there was like one day where it was kind of like out of control, distracting, and I was like, what in the world, like I haven't even started tea, is this what I have to look forward to? But it was like, it calmed down after a day, went back to my usual level of only mildly distracting several times throughout the day. And that's changed. Like I didn't get any kind of like fluctuation on tea so far. But I don't know if that's just because my libido was already high, or if it's because the dose is lower, or just whatever. Like people's bodies really are different. I do hear people say like their moods change a lot, like they're happier when they like go on hormone replacement therapy of any kind. And like I have been in a pretty good mood, but it's also like I can identify several other things happening in my life that would put me in a good mood. Like just in general, like it's sunnier and warmer outside. So it doesn't feel hormone based. It just feels like, oh yep, like this is how I react every year when the weather gets nicer. So like those kinds of things, I haven't seen changes. So basically, if you're non-binary, or even if you are binary or whatever, and you're thinking about like a low dose for whatever reason, like for myself, I want changes to come slowly, because there are some permanent like deal breaker things for myself that if they come really fast, I don't like want that deal breaker. If they're coming slowly, I can like see it coming hopefully and stop taking tea, or I might be like, oh, it's not as much of a deal breaker as I thought it was going to be, and then progress, right? So I can't really say that I've seen many changes, so we'll see if I end up looking any more like my brother than I used to. And I mean, I like it. It's been a good experience. I definitely don't regret it. I find I'm looking forward to finding changes, which to me is like a good positive thing. Like, yes, I'm still looking forward to this and engaged in it. So yeah, so what did I say? Possibly a little bit of like timbre change in my voice that only I can feel and hear, because I do feel it. Maybe a tiny bit of muscle growth, but not really. And that's it. Oh, and my scent. Like I've heard so many people talk about how their scent has changed, and that has not been a thing for me at all. And I'm like super sensitive to scents in general, and I haven't noticed it. So I didn't mean to make this video so long, but surprise, I did. Sorry. I hope you watched all of it and enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you have any specific questions, let me know. I don't know how often I'll do the updates. I actually wasn't initially going to do a 1 month, but I thought it would be good for people to know, like if you're early on, that it's okay that you haven't had a ton of changes, like you didn't sprout a full beard in 1 month, or whatever your like changes you're looking for. Like it's okay and normal that sometimes things take time. It takes some time for your hormones to build up in your body, for your body to like adjust itself to them. And we're all different people. We have different like hormone systems that we're born with, and then we're changing that, and like just how our chemistry and such is. So good luck. Again, feel free to ask questions. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, which I've already said, but thank you. Genuinely, thank you. And yeah, if there's specific stuff you want me to talk about, just let me know. And have a great weekend.